I wanted to talk about grafting and genetically modified. I believe that I had believed that genetically modified and grafting were two different distinct things and that grafting wasn't so bad. Well, grafting means that the root stock, that means the root of another tree, or basically a tree that has gone to a certain height, depending, or but not even a tree, excuse me. These are from what I'm learning. I'm learning all of this, and I invite your comments. And if I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. And please comment because this is a big one. This is really big. So in grafting, I don't even have the vocabulary, but that you take a seed and you grow it and to a certain size, and I don't know how big, but I've been talking to people in the citrus industry, small, and at that point you add a tissue onto it, which is grafting, and it's from another member of the family. So let's talk citrus. So we have oranges are part of the lime citrus. Lime and oranges are part of the citrus family, and from what I understand, the lime tree is the fastest growing, and so since this is all about yields and money, they take that the lime tree and then the orange or whatever is the tissue is added on, and that's the grafting or the hybrid, if that's the word you want to use. Well, that means that the fertility of the seeds are affected because the rootstock is not natural or native to the orange. And it looks like within that generation, and remember, they're not putting a rootstock in that isn't already modified in some way. And I'm starting to think maybe that modification is just that. It's just continually grafting, but I don't know. So the fruit will have characteristics that the businessman farmer wants, which is high yield, maybe a thicker skin so that it can ship longer, seedless, because that's where I'm going. People think that seedless, and I thought seedless, and I loved seedless, and I bought forever until about a year ago started really paying attention to this. Seedless means extinction. And I feel that this entire depopulation moment we're in, this reset, is so much more real when you get the idea that there are not productive, fertile seeds. There's not going to be, and there are. I think we're at a crucial moment in having seeds that produce fruit and produce, any produce, because due to the grafting, and so in the continual grafting and looking for these characteristics, it's like, and it's kind of parallel to inbreeding in that way. You're not letting nature take care of it, because it seems to me, and from a lot of people that I'm talking to, and people that have experience with their trees, and then just talking to people about common sense and what they know. And I've been in Colombia, South America for over a month. I just got back a couple days ago, and I talked to a lot of people that are very close to the land and have parents or grandparents that gave them knowledge of the land. And in talking to them, that makes sense to them and a lot of people. No one's really told me that I'm wrong on this, and this may be obvious to you, but it wasn't obvious to me because I've been in cities for a long time. I grew up on a ranch, but not a lot of planting of things and just more animal focused. And then I came back 30 years later, and I'm learning as much as I can. I'm calling myself a very, very gradual homesteader. And I think that if a if a fruit or a vegetable, whatever we want to call them, do not have a mother and a father, or a pollinator and a, I don't know the right word, the receptor, the flower. I think that was probably wrong. But anyway, if you don't have two separate trees or bushes or whatever you want to call them, the trees generally, two different plants with a pollinator, and I'm so sorry I forgot the word, then you have hermaphrodites. And that's what coffee is. And that's what avocados are now. And when I say this, this is the majority of the market of these fruits. So there may still be some out there in the wild that are male and female. But this is the call to action I want to give you. Start collecting and growing native seeds that are from that were made naturally from a male and female, two separate trees. We got to start. We've got to reset. We've got to reset out here. Those of us that are not in the cities, we've got to start building our soil. That means you've got to start growing tobacco. That's a huge builder. I understand that hemp is a wonderful builder of soil. Tobacco, they have amazing uses. We know that 99% of the people who died of you know what in 2020, according to Dr. Brian Ardis, Ardis, he's I think the word is osteopath, not natural, like a chiropractor, naturopath, has 5 children, hates smokers, and he started putting nicotine patches on his children because 99% of the people who died in 2020 were non-smokers. So tobacco may be an amazing shield from the electromagnetic frequencies that look like have a lot to do with the sickness that occurred in 2020. And that vector of electromagnetic frequencies is ubiquitous. It's everywhere, right? We're getting it from the screens. We're getting it from our phone, the cell phone on the body. We're getting it from the towers, a stoplight with the cameras, like everything. So most things, or if you have a smart refrigerator, if you have whatever is smart, I'm going to say probably means it's deadly. And that really being smart is getting back to the land, and we need to build up our soil because the soil is poisoned from runoff from precisely these grafted, hybrid, GMO'd trees that are near most of us. Well, where I am, it's citrus, but there's also blueberries. There's also strawberries near me. Like all of these fruits, I'm going to say, and if I'm wrong, please tell me, are hybrid, and they do not produce productive seeds. Monsanto may have a whole bunch of seeds, but there's going to be an end to that. And that also affects our bodies, I believe, because it just makes sense. If we're eating vegetables and fruits that no longer have seeds that produce, what kind of seed, what, it just seems to me that there's a relationship there. And again, if I'm wrong, okay. But we can also just look at the antibiotic glyphosate, which is the pesticide slash fertilizer that is utilized to make these high yields and to kill everything around it. And then destroy our soil, right? Because the glyphosate, as it seeps into the ground, it then turns into, from what I understand from the Water Preservation Department in my county, that's arsenic. And I've heard from a sheriff here in town. I went to the sheriff's office to talk about 5G towers about a year ago. And I said, look, and we looked at the chemtrails in the sky, and he was great. He was in his 60s. He was a really very nice man and open. We walked outside and everything. And he said to me, you know, it's true about that arsenic being from the agricultural industry, because when they were building this Walmart down the road, like 20 years ago, the land was next to a former nursery that was no longer there. And I think it hadn't been there for a while. And still, Walmart had to like absolutely redo all of the land because the land was so damaged from the runoff of this glyphosate. So look into glyphosate, look into grafting, look into all of this, please, and let's talk, because it seems to me that this would make sense. It goes, hand in glove with the depopulation. Like they have to do it because there's not any food, right? I think that I'd also like you to consider the idea that I don't think there's 8 billion people on Earth. And there's a very good video. I may have posted it. When I feel like it, I'll post it. But it is by Eric Dubay, and it's like 7 minutes, it's very short. But he goes into the numbers that are reported. For instance, it's fantastic. He talks about the amount of people that live in India, and then totals up the top 40 cities, and it's still less. It's like, I can't remember, but it's like, it's not the 1.4, it's not even coming close to the 1.4 billion that they tell us is India, or whatever they're saying now. It's something like closer, it's in the low millions, okay? Something like that. And the same with like maybe hundreds of millions, but would not even, not like, I want to say less than 300 million, something like that. That was the conclusion of the top 40 cities of India. The top 40 most populated cities of India. So then that means another 700, 800, 1.2 billion or whatever are now, are all living in the countryside. Like, and look at and if you do that worldwide, you're not going to even come close. It doesn't seem to even maybe 2 billion. And I think that's being really generous. I think there's a lot less of us on Earth. I don't think you can trust your government. I worked there. You cannot trust them. You cannot trust. And when I worked there, I loved it until the end. When I started waking up a little teeny bit, but not really. I didn't really wake up hard until 2020. And that's why I have this channel, because I know what a shock it is. And I know how extremely depressing and overwhelming all this information is. But if you have children, or you want children, or you like children, or you can do the math and realize that that's all we got is to they're going to be in charge soon. We must put our energy into finding truth. And when we have identified truth, or at least looking in that direction and continually seeking truth, and not just going, well, that's all we can do. Well, that's what they sell at the store, so that's what I'm going to eat. Guess what? What they're selling at all the stores is poison. It's poison. I was in Publix tonight. Like, we went to 2 different stores to get our produce. I don't even want to buy produce anymore. I love fruit. I'm so sad. I love fruit. And we keep buying it, and we bought a whole bunch, whatever. But I bought I'm buying this organic, and that's just a sticker. They can put any old sticker they want on it, and we don't have any idea if it's the same GMO grafted crap, right? So I know that. But we've got to eat, and this is what's out. But I am growing trees. I went to the thing. This is so heavenly. A mile from me is an exotic fruit nursery, and God sent me there yesterday with my children to go talk to them about this, what I'm telling you, which is this terrifically horrible realization that we are going to run out of seeds. And unless we start focusing on fruit that still comes from a male and female source that are separate trees. And that's when you hear about the birds. Look, I don't know all this stuff, so that's why I'm sharing it. It may be obvious to you. I don't want to, like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But here's the thing: the good news is that the nursery owner, listened to me. He was wonderful, and it was great. He knew my mom. He knew of my mom, so that was nice. His wife and kids had been to my mother's ranch, so I wasn't like coming so out of the blue. But he gave me He gave me two lime trees, two little lime. What's it? Buds, like they're small, like they're this tall, and I'm gonna plant them. And he thinks that these two are maybe male and female, and I'll just put in a couple more. But this is how we make changes. Like I'm 98% sure that 98% of the wonderful, exotic, fantastic fruits that he has, and normal, he has, normal things as well, are grafted and maybe with glyphosate. So, and then my friend just told me last night that yes, those balls that when you buy a little plant and you buy your basil at Walmart or whatever, or at Lowe's, and those little balls in there, and I've taken with my kids when I first started trying to plant something. I was like, this is not nature. What are these little, it looks like styrofoam. That's the glyphosate, you guys. And that's the antibiotic. It's an antibiotic. That means it's against life. Don't ever take antibiotics again. Please don't ever do chemotherapy. Please never do radiation. These are sure ways to harm your body. And I know this is painful. My father was a doctor. I believed in the allopathic system. I had 2 babies in a hospital, naturally, but they were in a hospital, and I got vaccinated. And I am so on the other side of that, because when you start looking at what's going on and who are the people that are having a relationship with a patient and encouraging certain things that they may be psychologically controlled, but probably they're more monetarily controlled and under stress because of the debt they have from medical school, or just their status, or just the fact that, they spent years learning this crap and they're not going to throw it away. What are they going to do if you've worked 30 years or even 10 years or even, whatever in your career? Well, that's a decision that each of us have to make. I've made mine. A lot of big things have happened in my life in the last 4.5 years that I did not anticipate. I never thought that people would turn their back on me like they did when I just questioned things logically and did some critical thinking and have, I think, a pretty high level of pattern recognition because of my age. And I've lived on 3 different continents, and I've been very, very blessed to be able to pay attention. And I mean, 2 times that I moved, well, when I first moved to Europe and then I moved to Colombia, But when I first moved to Europe in 2004, I thought I was in a huge, huge, huge depression. This was post 9/11. And I was not conspiratorial. I believed that those were Muslim terrorists, and I was a Catholic, and I was like, this is terrible. We got to rescue the faith, and we've got to get people back into Jesus, and this is not right, and who are those bad people, and they're against us, and all that. And now I know it's all the same people. It's all the same people. It's all the same people. It's the same people. It's the same people that are burning Los Angeles, that burned Maui, that created the hurricane, that destroyed that little town in lithium-rich North Carolina. It's the same people. And they want to depopulate because there's not going to be any produce left. And then we can go into proteins and talk about pork and beef and chicken and the hormones and antibiotics that are injected into them, and the glyphosated grass or hay or whatever shit they feed them, that's also affecting their body and their fertility. And they've got all this shit figured out based on yields, right, of how much it's going to produce. So I am very confident that they know that these seeds are going to, we are on a worldwide fauna and flora and human extinction track. But those of us that are thriving and are able to sustain difficult conversations and are choosing what kind of people we want in our lives with great discernment based on, do they tell the truth? Because really, what is the point of having people in your life that lie? What is the point? Now, we all have family that we must deal with, but I'm just now, it's a no deal, what do they call it? Deal breaker for me is people who lie. And I get there's little white light. I have made that decision. There's no white lies. There's just lies. There's just lies. There's no Santa Claus. There's no reindeer. There's no Easter bunny, which is sick. The shit. If you look into Easter, man, that's some sick shit. What the symbols that they have coming at us and so the point is, they know how our brain works. They know how our brain works. They've mapped it. They know how visually charged you are, all of us are, how the sound of the non-music synthetic shit that is on the radio or on CDs or played at concerts that are not even musicians. It's just that reggaeton shit, techno, all that is shit. It's all really bad for your brain. And it's all part of how they destroy humanity. So it's in the food. It's in what you hear. It's in the sound of the sirens that they're playing as much as they can in your town, in every city. The sounds of the sirens are very unsettling. The lights, the blue and red lights together, those absolutely affect your brain. Look it up. There's stuff online about this, the blue and red lights. And did you know that it's illegal for them to turn on those red and blue lights unless there's an emergency? So if you get pulled over or someone says something to you, or like I was in Colombia, there was a lovely like Christmas traditional parade in my father's hometown where he was born, and the girls were in these gorgeous dresses, unfortunately made in China, but that replicate where the fabric at the minimum was, with sequins, right? Beautiful. I loved them. These are dresses in the Cumbia region. This is the Cumbia capital of the world, the original Cumbia music. And it's couple dancing. It's sweet. And it's interesting. They hold tobacco and a candle, which is interesting. I think there's some video my cousins have. I'll see if they'll send it. So before the parade, it's this little town. I don't know, maybe 30,000 people, if that, but it's all concrete because this is the way they do it. This is what these mobsters do. They do, they're stamping the earth with concrete, right? All the cities are concrete. There's no nature. That's the point, is to get us away from nature. So anyway, in that pre-parade time, like a half an hour before, this freaking police car, very intimidating, gigantic, like truck, comes up with the blue and red lights, and my cousin, I'm like, this is terrible. Like this, we're all sitting on the side of the road. My family has a house that's like right on the track of the parade of these lovely dancing groups that are coming from each neighborhood and with different dresses on. It was amazing. And the guys in their matching outfits. And I walk up to the guy and I go, why do you have these lights on? Well, we have a break. I'm like, I know, but the streets are already clear. Everybody's calm and excited. Why do you have to have these lights on? Well, and I go, I know it's in the United States. I think that it's internationally, and I said it that way. I'm like, I think it's internationally. There is a law in the United States that you cannot turn on red and blue lights unless there's an emergency, and there's no emergency. And these are the things we just need to start saying. And well, you need to research on your own and come to these conclusions and make them yours, and then state them when they're yours, when you know it's truth. All right. So I'm exploring truth. And if I'm wrong, I admit it, and I am open to your comments, and let's go, because all I care about is survival. And I think intelligence is survival. Because if you've been a professional your whole life, like I was pretty much, and you only know how to work on a computer and ride on a subway or drive your car and talk on the phone and do all these things on the computer, and all the electricity goes out for a month, who are you going to turn to? Right? Well, I know that I didn't know what I was going to do. So I have dedicated my life to nonstop researching for survival. And not in a prepper way, but in a joyful way of, okay, we're going to grow trees. We're going to get to know animal husbandry. We're going to learn about fertility, because fertility is infinity. And that's why I'm coherence 888, because the coherence means that we're, I believe, in harmony with this infinity, with the fertility that is around us all day long. Like, even though I was in that shithole city, Bogota, that I dedicated so many years to in South America, Bogota, Colombia, even though it is all concrete, and then they have parks here and there, they have a lot of parks. There's not that many parks for that much concrete. But you see nature just trying to come out because there's so much rain, second most biodiverse country on earth, and 98% of the produce is GMO'd, grafted, and it's losing all its fertility. And women don't want to have babies. Men are soy boys. Oh, the soy makes boys not boys. It makes them non-men. They never turn into a man. That's why you see so many men that their voice never drops. Like, it's real. Look into soy. These are real. This is real. And I'd like to finish with this, that vitamins are fake. I really believe vitamins are a total construct. There is a doctor, I think it's Garrett something. I found his website about a week ago or less, and he is the vitamin A guy. Wow, vitamin A is bad news. Synthetic or natural. It's all fake, you guys. Like, and I'm getting closer and closer to understanding more and more about minerals and why that's also something to consider being man-made. Because why are they called mineral deposits? That means someone had to deposit them. Right? And I got to that because I was thinking a lot about the lithium that people talk about in North Carolina. That town, they're not going to rebuild it, and that this town had been presented an offer a few years ago, I don't know how long ago, that, hey, we want to mine for lithium here, and the town people rejected it. And so some people posit that, a lot of people, you've probably heard this if you're watching my channel. If you even came to this far in the video, thank you so much. But if a lithium deposit, oh, and guess what? Lithium is made from salt. So it's a chemical compound. Someone made the lithium. You can't have a deposit of something that's man. You can't have it can't be from the creator if it was man-made. It's not. And I'm open. I'm looking at the salt mines, man. I'm looking at the salt mines. I don't. I'm looking at them. I'm just saying. And I'm inclined to sea salt, but I think we have to start evaporating our own, we need people to start processing sea salt that we trust. Let's just put it that way. Please, if you're near the beach, hear me. I've been near the beach just now in Colombia, and I've been telling everyone this. And here's my current 3 pieces of advice. Collect and grow native, fertile seeds that come from male and female. Consume pure salt. Get a salt supply near you that is pure. And 3, we call it in Spanish pollos criollos. I don't think you can't even use the word heirloom. I looked up heirloom. Heirloom only means that it existed 50 years ago. How's that? 50 years ago is nothing. They were big time into the grafting 50 years ago. They were big time into the GMO stuff. So 50 years ago, heirloom, be careful of that word. So, chickens. So you want to get chickens, again, that have been on a long line of country chickens, if you can do that have eaten worms, and we're just pecking away at horse manure. Ideally, the horses were eating non-glyphosated hay and grain, but let me tell you, I have examined the horse feed bag, and it is very, very, very concerning what is being put in animal feed. So all of this goes to us if we're consuming food from stores that process in GMO. Those are my 3 pieces of advice. Get chickens that are as native as you can get, and then you have eggs, and then you have chicken that you can kill and eat, and you will be fine. You can live on eggs, and you can then grow your your group of chickens and gives them to your friends, and then we can be composting continually the trees that we're growing from those seeds and build our new world from the ground up, literally. That's why they call that stuff groundswell and stuff, right? Ground up. We've got to work from the ground up, and that means we need to lay the ground. We need to do the groundwork. Wow. And the groundwork is, I never thought of this, all the terminology with groundwork, right? We have to smash that arsenic, get that arsenic will go away. My trees, when I get a camera, I'm going to get a secondhand digital camera and film stuff. If you're new to my videos, I don't have a phone since 2023, and so it's not easy to wield around this laptop to take videos, but I have a tree out there, the avocado tree. I've been gone over a month, and I've had a dear friend taking care of everything, and I'm following my little instructions, and things are going fine. The trees look good, but he is about 4 feet tall, and if that, and 3 feet, or the top, or 2/3 looks totally dead. Totally dead. All withered leaves. It's totally black, almost, very dark, the branches. And below, coming on the side, are two big, beautiful green branches coming up. So when I bought the citrus trees and I talked to the owner of the place, he had said to me, I said, okay, thank you so much. I'm buying this tree. I said, well, how long is this fertilizer? So I'm like, I'm just going to plant these. I'm not using fertilizer. And if you buy something, I've noticed with my other trees, the instructions say every month you need to put this fertilizer in here. And he said no. He goes, in 6 months, all that poison. I'll use my words. The poison, all the poisons will come out. They'll be expelled. They will be poison free in 6 months. So that really was a profound statement. I'm going to go back and talk to him maybe tomorrow and pick his brain more. Boy, he knows so much. But that's lovely. And that's the reminder that we're always, all of us, all organisms, I believe, God made this beautiful, harmonic, flat realm, plane, and he made this plane in harmony. Everything works together in a beautiful way. That, like in my video with Juan Diego, the agriculture, I don't know the word in English, I forgot, I need to find it, but he's graduated in agriculture, agropecuaria in Spanish, it's like life. He said, he said, if I put a spider on you right now, or a snake, like he had reptiles as a kid and stuff, he goes, how would you react? And I was like, ooh, I wouldn't like it. I don't like that. I go, but I said, but I know that I would stay calm because I don't think they're malicious, and I don't think that they would bite me if I stay calm. And he goes, that's the exact answer. And he's like, they don't. There's no reason for them to bite you, and that's just like us. Well, most of us. Like with nature, you should not want. We should be living in harmony. And that's what I love about Yesu's message. First, love God, which for me is truth, natural